Hey everyone, hope you guys are doing well. Obviously here for the live stream for Game Week 7. And ultimately what's interesting this week is we have a lot of doubts, a lot of flags. Maybe your geography knowledge is coming through, but it's tough because I think you have to sort of go with moves where you know that they have some long-term value if you're not wildcarding soon. And so, for example, for that reason, I've gone Dallo myself. Now, if you are actually looking for short-term punts, I think it's actually safest to go, outside of, let's say, Spurs, etc. If you're, let's say, wildcarding on 8, and then to look at maybe something as cute as, I don't know, a goalkeeper transfer this week, where you can go for Kaminsky potentially, or you can look at just simply going for Morris as well, benching one of your players if you have a doubt on your team, you're uncertain who to play. You could always go for Morris. In terms of defense, I think Kabore is an elegant solution because he's obviously so cheap. But you also have to think about little things like what that team value can really do for you and whether you actually need a little bit more depth. For example, I need that sort of depth, right? Because Udogi's going to come in for me in Game Week 8, but Estupinian next week has a terrible, terrible game. So, on paper at least, because I think the last time I watched Brighton-Liverpool, I'm pretty sure Brighton smashed Liverpool, but this is how it is. So, thank you guys. Anyways, 51 of you guys in the chat already. Really appreciate you guys being here. Even 60 going forwards. If you guys could like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, I really, really appreciate it. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's start with the chat questions. So Bobatak says, "Hi mate, what do you think about Foden to Bowen?" Look, personally, I don't like Foden to Bowen because I think Foden is going to start this game, so I don't really like Foden to Bowen at all. Now, if it allows for you to go Bruno to Son, the question I would ask you is, are you going Bruno to Son this week? I mean, why not just go next week? Maybe you can even go for a slightly cheaper player next week as well. That could actually help you get, Bruno to Son if you really want to do that. Like, I personally really don't want to do Bruno to Son. If anything, I'm doing Saka to Son next week, and that's probably going to be my transfer. So I would say keep your options open, but don't go from, let's say, a good option this week to another good option this week, right? Because Foden has a good fixture, so does Bowen, but I don't like going from a good fixture to another good fixture. In my situation, for example, I've gone out of Gusto, red carded player, Estupiñán away from home versus a good Aston Villa team, Udogi, very, very terrible fixture despite being at home. So I needed a third defender. So I went from a bad fixture on paper, right, to a good fixture is the way I see it. Daniel says Chance Alvarez is rested. So I've looked at a couple City predictors. I think around 95% suggest that Alvarez will start. I probably wouldn't be too worried about Alvarez. He played 74 minutes, was rested, in theory, when he was taken off, in the FL Cup. So this is a good opportunity, I would say, to actually just keep Alvarez and hold him. I think the chance is pretty small that he doesn't start. Soldier Boy says, would you do Wisa to Alvarez for a -4? Now, I probably would not do that for a -4 because it's such a short-term move, right? You're going from Alvarez 1 week, and then suddenly both of these two players in Wisa and Alvarez have a bad Game Week 8 fixture on paper. So the way I see it is if you can actually save up a little bit more money, maybe create some more funds, you could actually go from, let's say, Wisa to a huge upgrade in terms of, I don't know, maybe going for someone like Watkins or Darwin or even Wilson if you want to do that next week. Isn't the best transfer, to be honest, Wilson versus West Ham away. So obviously, as I said, I think Darwin is a little bit more of a long-termist move, but it's also a huge punt. If you want a safer move, Watkins is there. But of course, that's a huge sort of price upgrade from someone like Wisa. Ultimately, I guess you can also maybe look towards whether Edouard is fit next week as well, and then you can just move him on then. But the transfer that you're suggesting for a -4, I probably would not do it. Wisa himself has a good game as well. If we want to just talk. CN says, I managed to get Salah in Game Week 10, but without a wild card. That's good. I mean, in that situation, I think you should wildcard Game Week 19 because if you already have Salah in your team now, what are you wildcarding for? Maybe you're changing a couple defenders, maybe you're changing a keeper, but I think you'd be in a very good spot right now because you're sort of ahead of the curve, right? Let's be honest here. I mean, I'm a fixtures man, but you look at Salah right now, he's got two slightly tough fixtures, and then he's actually got a pure run of games, right? Where you definitely want to own Salah. I'm not saying he's essential. Some people will actually, let's say, continue and persist with, let's say, the 5 premium structure. I might even be one of those managers. I might even go Haalandless. But, I would say keep your wild card in your back pocket. Probably play it around Game Week 19 because you're already ahead of the curve with owning Salah. Ahmed says, sell Eze for a -4. I would not sell Eze for a -4 because next week is his best fixture. What I would do is probably give Eze game week 8. And if he honestly stinks it up again next week, then I would sell Eze. But I would give Eze that Nottingham Forest at home fixture. That's his best fixture by far over this entire run. And yeah, I would love to sort of play him there. And you've already sort of tanked the price drop, right? So obviously this fixture on paper isn't good, but -4 this week, it's tough. And also, I mean, for example, the budget midfielders, what I would say now is Eze is actually one of the best of them because he's continuing to drop in price and now he's budget. You have Anthony Gordon, who's a great fixture, but he's also a huge punt because he could be suspended. And then the question you need to ask yourself is, do you have enough to cover the suspension? Someone says, should I buy Watkins and sell Alvarez in game week 8? I think if you can do it, it's actually quite a good move, yes. Will says he's DM'd the team on Twitter. I will have a look at Twitter teams maybe later if the chat isn't too buzzing, but I'm not sure if I'll have the time to have a look at it. So I've decided to look at your team because why not? I would actually play Bayer over Estupinian, and that's the only thing I would say. I think the rest of your team looks good for this week, and I wouldn't be too worried if I'm honest. So yeah, enjoy that. All right, so moving on to other chat questions. Any Saka news? I mean, we saw Saka arrive at Bournemouth yesterday, so he's definitely going to be in the match squad. Now, the question, of course, is whether you think Saka will start or whether you think he'll be on the bench. What I've read from Andy is that Saka has actually been in training. So him and Declan Rice and Saliba were all in training apparently yesterday. Obviously, they didn't take photos of them, but that's what we know so far. And the assumption, of course, is that Saka will start. That's my assumption. I'd probably give it a 75% chance. I've been here many times in terms of actually seeing Saka start, seeing Arteta, be a little bit coy about injuries and things like that and knocks. I wouldn't be too worried, to be honest. I would assume that Saka starts. But also, if you have a convenient opportunity now, for example, to sell Saka because you're worried about that 25% that he might be on the bench, then go forth and do that. I just think that he will start, which is why I've sort of gone with my team as it is. Now, for example, in my situation, if Saka doesn't start, I'm just going to go take a -4 to go to Son. Coder says Kaminsky or Ederson. I'd play Kaminsky for sure. Darsh says, would you start Estupiñán or I would go Estupiñán for sure. Henry says, yes, sir. Nice to see you around, Henry. If you guys are new here as well, if you guys could like and subscribe, that would be lovely. Going forwards, though, trying to skip through some questions, actually, just so I can go through quickly. So someone's asking for a wildcard draft. I will do that in a moment. Someone says, what to do, Chilwell and Tripper. Chilwell to Trippier and Estupiñán to Evans or Henry to Botman. I like Chilwell to Trippier the best, to be honest. But do you have to do that second move to go out of Estupiñán? I probably wouldn't say you have to. Ravish says Ruben, Gabriel, Trippier, but you got Gusto the bench. I would just roll, my friend, because you got 3 defenders this week. You're chilling. Throwback's father says Estupiñán to Trippier if you have Botman already, or hold on to the free transfer. I would go for Estupiñán to Trippier as well. Huge upside in this week, right? Once again, another opportunity to get close to basically a 50% clean sheet odd, right? Which is very, very rare. So very good fixture to get clean sheet, hopefully. And then Trippier was actually rested from the EFL Cup game. So I would say this is a great opportunity to move into Trippier if you could. And yeah, so many of you guys in the live stream today, actually almost going to be a viewer record for this season. So thank you guys so much for being around. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys are doing well. James Ward-Prowse or Bowen. Look, to be honest, I would actually go for Bowen. I think it's safer to go with Bowen just because with James Ward-Prowse, yes, he's on a lot of set pieces, but at least I know the consistency is there in terms of Bowen's attacking positioning. Now, James Ward-Prowse might actually end up being a great pick, and we might actually all want to go towards him in Game Week 10, but I can't be that conclusive about him now. So I would rather pick the asset that I trust a little bit more in Bowen for now. As far as Saka's on, what do you mean by Saka's on? I don't think we have a league, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think the biggest talking points this week is obviously what you want to do with Saka, right? But personally, I think unless you're in an extremely luxurious position, like let's say you've got an extra free transfer, you can go Saka to Son, right? I would only do that then. But I've got a lot of issues this week. We've got a lot of issues this week. Some of us have defenders that really can't play. I need some water, by the way. Sorry. Yep. Am I set on starting Saliba over Estupinian? 100%. 100%. Yeah. Because the thing is, I just think there's such a small chance that Saliba will actually start off the bench and then actually come on. Maybe it'll happen, but I just think it's unlikely to happen. I think either he plays or he doesn't. Rob says, "Hey mate, do you think I should transfer in Trippier for Chilwell or Son for Saka?" So I would definitely just go Trippier for Chilwell, right? Because Son for Saka to me is more of a Game Week 8 move, right? As I said, Saka to Son is something I want to do myself, but it's more of a Game Week 8 move. You're sort of trading up a City fixture, a bad fixture there, and then moving into, right, a good fixture for Son, which is Luton. But then in this situation here, Saka could very well start, which could bite you. And then not only that, but Chilwell just simply isn't playing football. So Trippier is obviously the much better move this week. It would be much more logical for you to actually do that move. Sorry, I'm just changing my microphone around positionally. Sterling to James Ward-Prowse. I would do it if you're a Game Week 8 wildcard, but if you're not, I probably would actually hold on to Sterling, if I'm honest. Are you keeping Saka and Saliba on? Yes, I am, indeed. Jammer says, going to play Son over Saliba and Kabori first bench. Ooh, you're not going to play Kabori this week. What kind of defense do you have? Someone says he's got 5 flagged players. I mean, Jackson's definitely not playing. Chilwell's definitely not playing. Gusto's definitely not playing. I would keep Saka and Madison because they're most likely to play. And I would probably either one, consider a wild card just because you have so many suspensions, or two, just make the transfers around Jackson and Chilwell, right? Because those are the 2 players in your team that actually have the most money, cost the most amount in terms of budget, probably will actually continue to drop in price. So I would transfer those 2 out. Gusto so far, I think, did drop in price. If I'm wrong, correct me. But still, you've got some value there in Gusto compared to, let's say, Chilwell, who's going to be, I think, actually seemingly has a really bad injury, according to Pochettino. So we don't really know the timeline. It is supposed to be a few weeks, but it could be more. And obviously, he has to get back to match fitness. And also, we know that some of the right backs are coming back by the time Chilwell is coming back. And maybe you'll see him continue to sit on the bench for a while. So yeah, definitely Chilwell and Jackson out for sure. Would I do Saka to Son this week? As I said, if it's a luxury transfer for you, if you, let's say, have 2 free transfers, you can seriously consider it. But for me, I'm probably not going to do that unless we get some leaks and we know that Saka's benched. So Liverpool's defense is worse than Palace's and Brentford's XGC-wise, so that would make Rashford to Son a good transfer this week. I disagree because you need to factor in home and away. Home and away is quite an important thing, and then also minutes is quite an important thing. So when you're saying, let's say, Brentford, I mean, Brentford are also away from home, and then also Palace are also away from home. I know Spurs are actually playing at home, but then Son might only play 80 minutes, and the thing is, how much is the margin, right? So obviously, for example, let's say if I get to play versus City next week, then I get to play versus Newcastle this week. Obviously, City's the tougher fixture, but so is Newcastle. It's just a tough fixture in general, is what I'm trying to say. So it's more about how bad of a fixture are you going towards a good fixture. Like, it's great to obviously go from Saka to Son, but how much marginal upgrade are you going to get? Do you kind of get what I'm saying? But then I suppose also you're talking about Rashford, right? So in that situation, I would also say, personally, Saka is, I don't, if you own Saka, like, he's going to be playing versus City next week. So when Rashford himself, when I'm looking at my own team, is going to be playing versus Brentford, right? And then at Game Week 9, it's still Sheffield United compared to, let's say, Chelsea. Chelsea, who have actually been a pretty competent defense so far. So the way I see it, Saka is probably a little bit more of a pressing transfer. And then I can just bring Saka back on Game Week 10 when I can actually finally go out of Rashford, is sort of my general plan. So that's one thing I have in mind. Now, another thing you can say is, in terms of, let's say, Rashford versus Son, I would say I'm pretty confident that Rashford plays the full game. Whereas with Son, because we know he has a knock as well, it's just a minutes consideration. So there's 2 things, in my opinion, there. Now, you could obviously still go Rashford to Son. I think Son is still a better pick than Rashford. But Do you have no issues this week is probably the other question I would ask you. Marek says, who should I start and who should I bench? Because you got Saka in. Sterling, Wisa, Stupinian. Probably bench Stupinian, to be honest. Should I buy Watkins and sell Alvarez? Yeah, I've answered that already. Have Gusto and Jackson. Look, if you got Gusto and Jackson, that sort of money, I think you could probably actually play around with something like I think Zallo or a Newcastle defender is a good transfer. Now, going out of Jackson, I think Morris is a good transfer this week, right? Soldier Boy, yep, no worries. Brent says he's got 2 free transfers, Gusto, Botman, Saka to Bowen. Those are nice transfers, but I'm concerned, for example, that Bowen has similar issues to Saka, right? Where they both have slightly tough game weeks 8s and 9s. So you're kind of moving on from, let's say, Saka, who's a good pick this week, towards Bowen, who's also maybe a slightly better pick this week. But how much upside are you getting in game weeks 8 to 9? Whereas, for example, let's say you go Saka to Son. 8 and 9 is supreme for Son. And then obviously 10 is great for all the West Ham players, for Saka as well, and for Son. Marco says, transfer Saka to Gordon to ensure next week transfer of him. You could do that. You could do that. But once again, question has to be, what's up with your bench? And sorry, there's been a donation from Dimitri, so I really appreciate that. I'm just going to make sure I prioritize that comment. I have Saka, Diaby, Wisa, Wilson, whom to bench. I would actually probably consider benching Diaby or Wisa. I would definitely start Saka and Wilson, just because I think Saka and Wilson, both of them have really good fixtures. I think Wilson's going to start for sure. So I would definitely play Wilson if I had the chance. Now, your question obviously is just going to be between now, Wisa and Saka. I personally think that Wisa has a great fixture. And the question is, though, is he at the level of Saka? And probably I would say... Diaby, right? And actually, what I would probably go is Diaby, because Diaby's at home at the very least. Yes, of course, it's a great fixture from Wisa's perspective, but I think midfielders always have more avenues to points, right? So I think Diaby's probably the transfer that I would go with personally, and I would bench Wisa as a result. Any update on Botman? I think Botman will play. Start Botman or Colwell. Definitely start Botman. Try not to spam the chat, please, Bar, just so people can get their questions in as well. Protagonist says, hey, Fran, I have Saka, Madison, Son. Should I do free hit? No, not at all. I think all 3 of them will actually play. I wouldn't be too worried about actually owning any of these picks. You know? Don't be too concerned, is what I would say. Shrew Fandela, thank you so much for the donation as well. Really, really appreciate that. So you're on a wild card. You're going Trippier and Botman or Zuma / Agurd. If either of them, yeah. Personally, I prefer Agurd the most, because I think he's actually the same height as Zuma. And actually, his expected goals per 90 is really, really high as well. So Agurd is probably the one that I would go with if you really, really want to have a West Ham defender. Now, I actually like Botman, just in general. So I would probably go Botman, because I think the way I see it is, as I said, West Ham have tough games 8 and 9. At least Newcastle is a good fixture on 9. You will bench in game week 8/9, then sell for Estupiñán in game week 10. So yeah, exactly. That's a perfect situation, right? So just because when we look at, let's say, West Ham and Newcastle compare, I would say Newcastle have a bad game week 8, but they've got a good game week in this week, and then obviously a good game week in game week 9. So prioritize that over, let's say, Zuma, who has a tough 8 and 9. So yeah. Saka to Son, I think, is a luxury move. I will only do Saka to Son on this live stream if I actually find out that Saka's benched. And I can't I can't really justify, for example, going out of yeah, I can't justify going out of Saka unless I actually know for sure he's benched. Because my assumption is actually that he starts. Sorry about that. I'm actually trying to have a look to see if we actually have any leaks this week. Because it's actually quite important, obviously. Yeah, it doesn't actually seem like we have any leaks, to be quite honest, on let's say Saka and whether he starts and a couple other things. So I wouldn't be too worried right now. Like as I said, I'm going to be keeping Saka, but we obviously have a good 40 minutes to go. Hopefully we get some additional news, and that's it. So as far as, let's say, going back to YouTube chat and questions there, Morris for Edouard, someone asks. Yeah, I think that's a great transfer because Edouard's missing. That's a good transfer for sure. Someone says, who should I sell? Chilwell for Kabore or Trippier? I would always go Trippier because he's got long-term value in your team. Now, if you're wildcarding next week, then maybe you can go Kabore, but still, I actually think Trippier has one singular better fixture than, let's say, Kabore does over the double game week himself. Nate L says, what's up, Francisco? Hope you're doing well. Steven says, -4, Dallo, Botman, and Alvarez. I would prioritize Trippier personally because I don't really see the value of, let's say, going for a -4 towards Alvarez, who next week actually has Arsenal, which is a pretty tough game. So I'd probably avoid Alvarez this week just because I know the next week I probably wouldn't want to own him. You know, I'm going to reluctantly, let's say, own Alvarez versus Arsenal, but it's not a good game. Should I bring in Bowen for Sterling for a -4? I probably would avoid that -4. After all, this is a good fixture for Sterling. Wildcard draft, someone asks. I mean, this is going to be very impromptu. I'll definitely do an updated wildcard draft. But are you saying a wildcard draft for this week? So, like, for example, if I was wildcarding today. Okay, let's just get Salah in here first. Let's just make the team around this guy. I mean, game week 7. Oh, it's a pretty bad team all around. I can't really justify going for Morris. I think it's crazy. See, the problem about game week 7 wildcard is I think it's bad if you don't go for the double game weekers, but I think it's also bad that you do go for the double game weekers because the long-term value of the double game weekers is so poor. Now, let's probably go out of Saliba as well. Probably go Kabore. What is going on here? I'd actually probably keep... I mean, do I keep Pickford? No, I'll probably just go for Leno instead, and then maybe go Areola. You could obviously go Areola Turner, but it is a little bit dubious, I think, to actually do that. Now, I might not go Trippier, to be honest, and I might not go Estupinian, so I might go Cash. I quite like Cash and Dallo. Might just downgrade Trippier to Botman. Still need a defender for this week, so this week you play Dallo, Cash, and Kabore. Sorry, you play Dallo, Botman, Kabore for sure. Next week you play Cash, Dallo, Udogi. Fine. That's a very good team. Salah, Mbumo. Probably drop Mbumo. See, the problem is game week 7, Diaby doesn't have the loveliest of fixtures. Neither does Eze. Mbumo, ironically, is the one who actually has the good fixture. So I'd probably keep Mbumo. Maybe just go Diaby here. And then it's time to actually get Sonny as well. Sorry, Sonny for Rashford. I mean, ideally, I'd like to go Madison as well. Tough little situation here in terms of budget. I mean, you don't want to be playing 4-5-1, and then you also need to go Watkins very shortly. So we might have to go Gordon. You know, right? Because we actually have a strong defense, right? Let's be honest. We've got a strong defense. Like, for example, if Botman comes in, you'd still be happy about that. And then I'd probably actually go this crazy guy here. Maybe something like this could work. I think this structure is nice. I wouldn't say it's perfect. But these are some pretty crazy punts. I mean, I would like to own this team for sure. I don't know about Gordon permanently, though. It is quite a tough option. Maybe we need to save some money from Mbumo as well. Tough one there. I'd love to have Madison, too. So it's a question of, let's say, Fernandes versus Madison. Because I think Fernandes is sort of like a placeholder for Saka in the future when you go back in Game Week 10. Maybe Dallo's a bit too expensive. I'm not sure. Maybe Leno's a bit too expensive as well. I wonder what we can do if we go Turner. I mean, yeah, that's so much more money saved. Still can't go Madison, though, can I? Tough one there. But I would like to go Darwin. Darwizzy. Might need to think about what Dallo can do. The thing is, Dallo covers game week 7 and 8 so well. Yeah, tough one there. Let's see. So, do Mbumo to Diaby. Yeah, we could do that. The thing is, though, I'm not really sure if I'm that high on Diaby compared to Mbumo. Like I think Mbumo actually has okay fixtures. Ironically, on Game Week 8, I'd probably actually go Eze. And then the thing is, on this week, I'm sort of taking Darwin, who's a semi-bad fixture, Diaby, who's a semi-bad fixture, and playing them, right? Which I always feel reluctant about when I'm wildcarding. This is why I don't like wildcarding Game Week 7. It just feels bad. Anyway, sorry. Questions in the chat. I know there were a couple. Let me try and prioritize them. So Saka or Matoma? Do you mean to start? I'd probably still start Saka, my friend. Good morning, Fionn. Hope you're doing well. Kabori over you dogs every day. I mean, Kabori's already in this team. Would you do Rashford for Son or Mbumo to James Ward-Prowse or roll? I would do a roll, honestly. Not interested in any of those transfers. What do you think about Højlund? I think Højlund's a good pick for sure because I think he's gonna start. He's got good fixtures. I like him. I could, yeah. Maybe you're actually asking about wildcarding into Højlund. That's a good point, to be honest. I just think that Darwin has insane upside, so I'd probably like to tap into that. As far as questions, as far as start 2 out of Guardiola, Gabriel, and Kabori, I'd probably go Gabriel and Kabori because I'm not 100% sure Guardiola starts. Start Estupiñán or Morris. Definitely Morris. Definitely Morris. Would you do Rashford to Bowen? Probably not. Who should I sell? Chilwell for Kabori or Trippier? I would definitely go Trippier. Santi G. Estupiñán or Gabriel to start? Definitely Gabriel. I just think there's better clean sheet odds for Arsenal this week. Hit to bring. I would not be taking hits to bring in Luton players. Definitely not. Gerbicide says, "Hey Fran, how's dealing with injury simulator?" I mean, it's going pretty good so far, isn't it? I mean, hopefully none of these players are actually truly injured. And worst case scenario, I've got Estupiñán off the bench. Worst case. Hey Fran, as a double game week player, of course it's not a must-have. I mean, look at my team. Does it look like I believe that they're a must-have? I don't even think Morris is a must-have, and I think Morris is the best pick this week if you're looking at a double game week player. So, yeah, personally, I don't think they're a must-have. If you're wildcarding next week, then sure, you can go for it, but definitely not must-haves. Estupiñán or Kabori to start? I would go Kabori for sure. Justin O'Hara says, I have Trippier, Gabriel, and Estupiñán, 2 injured defenders. By the way, so many of you guys in the chat, actually, 172 of you concurrent viewers. If you guys could like and subscribe, that would be absolutely lovely. Really nice to see you guys all in the chat. But going back to Justin's question, sorry, you've got 2 injured defenders. Yeah, I mean, actually, your 3 defenders is rather good. So I would probably roll it unless you really wanted to go Dallo like me. I personally really like Dallo, but the way I see it is actually I needed a defender for Game Week 8 as well, so that's why I've gone for Dallo. It's up to you, really. Start Madison over Wisa. Yes. Best Jackson replacement. Probably Morris for this week. Just because it's such a convenient transfer, right? Like, for example, even going back to my wildcard draft, like, I would probably have to go for Morris, but I would feel so bad about it. Is Saka starting? We can't confirm for sure, but I think he will be starting. That's my assumption. That's why he's in my team still. Estupiñán or Cash? I would probably go Estupiñán and play him, and I'd probably put Cash first bench. I'd probably back Brighton in that game. Start Son. I would definitely start Son. For example, if you guys have Madison, Saka, Son, unless you've got Morris to play in front of them, I would definitely start all 3 of them. I would not worry at all. Trying to read for some leaks. I don't think we're actually getting any leaks today. So a little bit of an interesting situation here. Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried to be quite honest about let's say the big injury concerns. Now, obviously, Chilwell is actually injured, so he's just out. For example, the yellow flags on Saliba, Saka, Botman, Son, and Madison, I probably wouldn't worry too much about. I would start all of those players. And yeah, I wouldn't be too worried. So, going back to YouTube chat and questions over there. Just having a look, of course. In terms of member questions as well, just trying to prioritize that too. Happy to sort of answer them as well. I think I've answered all of them, so we can just go forth. Archit says, start 1 of Mbumo, Madison, Son, Morris, Diaby, Alvarez. What do you mean by start 1 of, like, start 1 out of, what, 7 players? I'm very confused. Do you mean bench 1? I mean, if I had to bench one, I'd probably bench Madison or Mbumo. Hugo Anthony says, is it worth it to start Cash over Kabore? I don't think so. I think I'd definitely start Kabore. I mean, if you're not going to start Kabore this week, then you'll never ever touch him in your team. And honestly, this is the best time to go Kabore. They're get Cash is against Brighton, remember? I think it's very, very likely that both, let's say, teams will score in that fixture. Whereas you get appearance points at least for Kabore. Should I start Cash over Eze? No, I'd probably still start Eze. Actually, I mean, it's pretty close there. I'd probably start Cash just to sort of punt on a home defender. Will Evans start? He probably has to, right? Because there's so many injuries in place. Cash or Anderson? Luton? I'd probably go Anderson. Has Anderson been starting all the fixtures, though? I really haven't been tracking. Who's the best option for dead ending? For sure, it's going to be Morris, but I think Callum Wilson's a pretty decent punt. Nesquik says -4 to go Saka to Salah and Anderson to Kabore. If you want to do that, go for it. I'm not sure if it's a -4 that I love, but obviously it's going to set your team up for the long term, so why not? Saka to Son for a -4. I would only do that if I knew Saka was benched, and I'm not doing it myself. Start 2 out of Foden, Alvarez, Saka. I would probably go Foden and Alvarez, to be honest, over Saka. Why start Saliba over Estupiñán? I just backed the clean sheet. First time commenting. Nice to see you around, Mo. Your question is Chilwell to Burn or Shar. I would probably go Burn and save myself a little bit of money and plan ahead. Is Solly March going to start? I really can't confirm that. I'm sorry. How long will I hold on to Sterling for? Probably until Game Week 9. I think, for example, on Game Week 9, or maybe even Game Week... Yeah, Game Week 9, for sure. Game Week 9. Should I take Trossard out for a hit or bench and play Cash? Because, for example, on Game Week 9, I've got a good Mbumo fixture. I will have a good 2 set of United fixtures, and then I can probably go Sterling out on that week as well. Now, I could hold Sterling Game Week 9, and that feels pretty bad, if I'm honest. I'd probably like something like Sterling to Salah as well on Game Week 9. Ben Taylor, nice to see you around. Hope you're doing well. Just going to play Saka YOLO. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything YOLO about playing Saka. I think it's a pretty safe option. Ultimately, it's like, why would I ever want to... Like, I would feel so much worse about Saka starting and then me actually selling him for a -4 or benching him, right? It's such a good fixture. And honestly, Arteta is a bit of a fraud sometimes. Like, he does lie to us in terms of injuries and press conferences and availability. Eddie Howe does the exact same thing. I think, for example, Eddie Howe had, talking about Wilson and Botman having knocks. Like, they're going to play. So, Saka, Saliba, I find that they're in the same situation as well, probably. Ben says, would you play double Luton Town defense this week if it meant... Yeah, I would not bench... I would play a Luton Town defense over Saliba. I would not play it over Botman because I think the clean sheet odds are so much better for Newcastle compared to, let's say, Arsenal. And then Arsenal's clean sheet odds are obviously just around the same level as, let's say, Luton Town. And you've got appearance points to factor in too. So I would probably go for Trippier. Yeah, Soldier Boy says, like the video. That would be lovely. Thank you guys for being around. Would be cool if we actually hit 200 concurrent sometime today. Thank you guys so much for watching as well. Diaby or Bowen? I'd probably go Bowen. Saka did travel. Saka 100% traveled. In fact, I can even show you Saka so Tommy Gunn was actually at Brighton yesterday, and he took a video of Saka, at Bournemouth. Saka's there, and then Saliba's there as well. So that was technically the leak we got, right? That these two are there. And then going back to other questions, Fran, give me a good differential. I mean, differential in what position? To captain a differential. I mean, if you are really edgy, I think you can go Morris captaincy. Callum Wilson is also quite a nice captaincy as well, but I'm going Haaland, my friend. I think, yeah, we can do a poll in terms of what people are captaining this week. Let's just start a poll. I don't think Morris is a bad captain at all. Now, I have no interest in going for Morris myself, just because long term I don't really see the value in him for me since I'm actually holding my wild card. But if you're wild carding next week, why not? Why Dallo? Three good fixtures in a row, basically. Three good fixtures in a row. So Crystal Palace, Brentford, Sheffield United, all three opportunities where I see some clean sheets. On top of that, I probably will actually think about genuinely wildcarding on Game Week 10. So I think it's a good opportunity to just maximize the three fixtures before Game Week 10. Rational Buy Hacker, thank you so much for the donation. I hope you are doing well. I know you still might be dealing with Isaac, I think. Fortunately, he did score a goal for you last week, but all the best to you this week as well. Where's the poll? I mean, the poll's live. No Wilson captainers, just a bunch of Haaland captainers, and then a couple odd Morris captainers. You're tempted to play Saliba over Sterling. All right, come on. Sterling is not that bad. I would go for I would generally play Sterling over Saliba. I don't think it's close for me, my friend. Should I start Bell instead of Diaby? Yes, I think so. Actually, no. I would actually go Diaby. I would go Diaby. Do you think Dallo will play right wing back? He could play left back or right wing back, but Amrabat was actually playing sort of left wing back, no? Or sort of left back in the EFL Cup game, if I'm wrong. Start Johnston and Turner. Start Turner, I would say. At least he's at home. Start Doku or Saka. Probably or Doku. I'd probably start Saka. Because I think Doku can also be an early sub. As a Chelsea fan, that pains me to say. I think so. So the thing is, with fans, sometimes it's like you're probably a little bit more downcast on your team than other people would be. I would still say Sterling has a decent edge. Why did I go for Dallo over Botman? Because Botman's got West Ham away Game Week 8. And then Dallo still has a home fixture versus Brentford. And then Game Week 9, they both have good fixtures. But actually still, I would prefer, for example, Sheffield United away than, let's say, Crystal Palace at home. And also, he's a fullback. And Botman's not going to score a header every week. Maybe he will, and maybe I'm wrong, but it is what it is. Am I starting Saka? Yes, I am. Will Botman play? I think he will play. I think Botman is good to play. That's what I've heard. Start Trossard or Cash. I would probably actually start Cash because it seems like Trossard's injured still. Hi, Fran. Diaby or Eze? I'd go Diaby just because Eze's fixture is pretty poor and he's away from home. Now, Ben Taylor says Sterling hat-trick. Sorry, Nesquik is responding to Ben Taylor with the Sterling hat-trick. I really hope so. That would be lovely, wouldn't it? Leno start versus Chelsea or Areola start versus Sheffield easily. I mean, it's not even a question for me. Should I start Udogi this week? Probably not. Sounds like a pretty terrible way to go against Liverpool. Replacement for Jackson for 7.4 million. I'd probably go Morris. Play one Alvarez, Saka, Stupinian. Probably play Alvarez, to be honest. Hi, friend. Watkins or Saliba? I would probably go with Watkins. And Kedia or Haaland? I would definitely go with Haaland. Sorry, Charlie. I didn't even notice it was you, but yeah, good to see you around. 200 of you guys in the chat. That's probably a record, actually, so far this season. So thank you guys so much for being around. Love the chat. Completely buzzing today. Seems like a lot of you guys are interested in what's going on. If you guys would like and subscribe if you haven't seen the channel, would love for you to do so. No leaks that I've seen so far, by the way. I wouldn't be too worried in terms of leaks at this moment in time. So I wouldn't be too worried. As I said earlier on in terms of the stream, a lot of people of you are asking the same question. It's sort of what to do with Son, what to do with Saka, what to do with Maddison, or even Botman. I think all of these players will actually start, so I wouldn't be too worried, honestly, if I was you. Wilson and Botman start according to Let's Talk FPL Andy as well. So if you guys are going for a Wilson punt, one game week punt, I think Wilson's quite good. In terms of Botman, obviously, this is another good opportunity to transfer into Botman if you want to, particularly if, let's say, you're wildcarding on Game Week 8. So you could do that as well. But yeah, so that's sort of the news that we have so far. I haven't been able to see any other leaks. Apologies. So we'll see what happens there. And I think from what Andy said as well, Saka, Saliba, and Rice were all training. And we know that, just based off the video, that all three of them traveled to Bournemouth as well. So we have some confidence as well in that. Ben Taylor says, Sterling captain for the Hattie then. Yeah, don't do that, though. Adam Lynch says, who are you vice-captaining? I'm vice-captaining Alvarez. I just think he's still the best pick this week to vice-captain. Maybe you could actually argue it's probably someone like Fernandes or Rashford, just because they're at a home game as well in my team. But it doesn't really matter to me anyways. Botman start is the new leak. Yeah, exactly. Botman will start. Wilson will start as well. Gabriel, I'd probably start him too, for sure. Matoma to Gordon for a hit. I would not take that hit, Sherwin. Doesn't seem very good. Gordon captain, I think, is pretty crazy. But if you really want to do that, go for it. I probably wouldn't. Trippier vice captain. It's actually not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. Should I play Areola or Onana? I would definitely play Areola. It's not even close. It's like Sheffield United at home. Aguero. I'm doing good, thank you. Nice to see you around. Hope you're well. Nesquik says, it sounds bad, but you slightly want Saka to not play because I prefer... I would actually love to go Saka to Sun -4. I want to take my first hit of the season, but I can't do it until I get a leak. Best 4 million defender... 4 million defender. My friend, 4 million defenders have no long-term value. I'm just going to say it right now, and it's the last time I'll say it, but they have no long-term value whatsoever. Start Alvarez or Sterling? Alvarez for sure. Can you rank Sterling, Wisa, Estupiñán? Well, Sterling, and then I think Wisa, Estupiñán are probably close. I'd probably say Sterling, Estupiñán over Wisa, just because Estupiñán, you could go with the effective ownership there as well, and they're pretty close. I have 2 free transfers, kept Saka and gone Chilwell to Trippier. Interesting. I think those are good moves. Gotta go. Take care, Adam. Hope you have a good game week ahead. I'm going to quickly check the private chat as well, just to see if anything's going on. Nope, seems like everyone's all good. All right, so back to the chat. They said Fati over Mitoma. Who really is that the leak? Mitoma's going to be benched. Okay, interesting. I mean, so last week we got Mitoma benched, and what happened? 14 points. I don't know. I think Mitoma's kind of a crazy player. If you get 45 minutes of Mitoma, you probably might not want to take him out for a -4. I can understand transferring him out for just a regular free transfer, but -4 Mitoma, I probably wouldn't want to do it. Can I rate FPL Harry's team? I don't even know what his team is. Can you let me know what his team is? Morris or Sterling? I'd probably go with Morris for sure. Should I do Burn to Wan-Bissaka? Wan-Bissaka's injured. Wan-Bissaka's injured. Wan-Bissaka's injured. Start Saka or Watkins? Definitely start Saka over Watkins. Sherwin says Estupiñán or Mitoma. I'd probably go Estupiñán if there's actually confirmation that Mitoma's benched. I haven't actually seen it myself, so I'd probably go Mitoma. But if you know Mitoma's benched, then go Estupiñán. Hey, Fran, do I play Saka? I'm playing Saka. Start Ezra Saka. I'd play Saka. FPL Aguero says, are any Liverpool mids worth going for? I mean, I guess the only option is Szoboszlai, and honestly, my answer would be no. The Rational Biohacker says Palmer coming to the... I mean, he could come to the cheat sheet, but you know what's funny is he looked really good in the FL Cup game, but then what's the issue? Chelsea's fixtures are just terrible, right? So Sterling, for example, who's a good pick already on paper so far, is just going to continue to skid. And then Cole Palmer might not just never really touch the cheat sheet because even though he's getting starts, if he does, he's going to have to be dealing with the fact that Chelsea just have bad games. So, yeah, Foden Alvarez start. Is that a leak? Or are you just saying that? I'm going to quickly check if there's any other leaks as well. Just give me a second, all right? I think Alvarez and Foden will play, but I haven't seen any leaks so far about the two. Botman and Wilson definitely start. That's the only leak that I can see. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't see any of the leaks really. So don't worry about that. Keep in mind as well, Isaac could also just play on the wing sometimes as well. That could be a possibility. We have seen it in the past, and now that Barnes is out, it might be needed. All right, so back to chat. The cutoff is 11 a.m. Yeah, exactly. Got 17 minutes to get some leaks, but I think honestly, I'm expecting things to stay the same. Foden and Alvarez do start. Sorry, Lazy FPL did confirm. Yep. Which is what we expected, right? Why are we so worried about Alvarez and Foden not starting? I feel like this season with the amount of injuries and with KDB out, specifically, we're probably going to see Foden and Alvarez starting a lot of games, and that's why they've been good picks so far. And it's also why last week I was telling people not to sell Foden. Some people were going Foden to Alvarez. It didn't really make too much sense. Maddison or Alvarez, definitely Alvarez. Start Saka or Maddison, definitely Saka. Start Maddison or Sterling, I'd probably actually go Sterling. Do we think we'll get a Saka leak? I hope so. We've only got 15 minutes ago. I can check Twitter for a bit. Um, just really trying to read some leaks if I can actually get any. No confirmation of anything though. So Odds on FPL has said something. He said that it seems like Saliba plus Saka start, Botman plus Trippier plus Schär plus Gordon plus Wilson start, and he thinks that Son plus Madison will start. Now, I think Odds on FPL is pretty reliable, but I'm not sure whether he's correct on this one because he says it's not his info, so I wouldn't trust it, and I don't think it's safe enough to say it's a leak. Pellistri actually starts for United as well. Another interesting leak. So that probably means he's right wing, right? Yeah. Just gonna quickly look for leaks again. Pretty tough, actually. I can't really see any additional leaks, so I wouldn't be too worried. Diaz and Haaland start. Diaz and Haaland just start. Just confirmed. Diaz and Haaland start as well. So we're actually getting some leaks, guys. You got to action on those moves. I mean, look, that's not major news. Haaland starts, obviously. If you want to captain Haaland, go for it. But Diaz starting is quite helpful. That probably also means that if you, let's say, own Ake or Guardiola, that probably also means that this is an opportunity to actually look at whether one of them one of them gets rested or rotated, right? So that's a concern as well. Is it good to start Morris over Saka? Yes, it is. All right, back to YouTube chat so I can actually answer questions. I'm just going to quickly see if I actually got anything wrong. Fran, should I start Johnson or Turner? I'd probably go Turner, to be honest. Mosen says, you think Doku, Walker, Ake, Akanji will play. Is that a leak, though? FPL Harry has Pickford, Botman, Schär, Kabore, Bruno, Madison, Rashi, and Mbumo, Saka, Alvarez. I mean, I'd probably give it a 9. The only thing I actually don't really like is Schär, to be honest. But I think the team it's so close to mine as well. If I was saying that was a bad team, I mean, my team would be awful. No, I think this team is good. Let's give it a 9 out of 10. FPL Fran, Johnny, would you captain out of Morris? Who would I captain out of Wilson, Morris, Haaland? I'd captain Haaland, then Wilson, then Morris in that order. But, you know, if you want to go against the field, you probably want to go Morris. Mal, hey Fran, good morning. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. 12 minutes left. You got any sort of transfer, sort of pressing suggestions that you have? Amrabat, Rashford, Højlund, Bruno will start. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's what we expected, right? Because Amrabat is probably going to play left back today, right? Who's the source for the Manchester United player starting, though? If you can please help me out with that. I mean, Pellistri is actually a 4.4 pick, but would you really want to go for him? And you'd probably have to be forced into a 3-4-3. Not sure about that, to be honest. So it's kind of a tough one. Kind of a tough one there. I probably wouldn't go for Pellistri at all. probably just avoid. All right, back to chat actually. So thank you guys for being here. Son and Madison start. Is that from Odds on FPL? Try to let me know where the leaks are coming from, guys, if you have those questions. So I transfer Udogi out for Burn. I mean, if you absolutely need a defender this week, sure. But I think Udogi has really good value after that. Which Premier League team do I support? I don't actually support any Premier League teams at all. I'm a Real Madrid fan. I'm pretty unbiased, I would say. FPL Mishi, thank you as well. In terms of your question, though, who to transfer in? Extra Newcastle defender already on Trippier. I would probably just go for Gordon for Jota. That's quite nice because that could save you some money. And Jota, probably he could be on the bench. Yeah. Grealish is on the bench today, by the way, guys. So that probably means that Doku will start, of course. Grealish is on the bench. Mal. I mean, I'm doing well too. You just said Gabriel. I'm actually going Saliba, right, over Estupiñán, so maybe you can actually follow with Gabriel. Nice one, Henry. Saliba in the 11. Where's the leak coming from, guys? Please, let me know. There are so many leaks today, actually, in the last 10 minutes. Getting a Saka leak is massive, isn't it? I would just play Saka, guys, honestly. I would just play Saka. Like, in these situations, I would just play Saka. Truly, it's not worth the risk. If you want to go Saka to Sun -4, you can do that move, but I think it's a little bit too aggressive, and honestly, Saka's likely to start. Telegrams groups for infield workers, awesome. I'll probably have to check Telegram myself. But also, you have to also make sure that those leaks that you're actually, you feel that those leaks are safe, right? Because some leakers just lie. Start Luis Diaz or Højlund. Probably Højlund, my friend. Best differential captain pick. Excuse me. I'd probably actually go Morris, but I like Wilson a lot as well. I'm going to close the poll. No surprise that it's Haaland, the main dominant captain. So we'll probably see something like 190% Haaland again. Start Giles or Udogi? I'd probably start Giles, but I don't know. He's not been starting every single fixture, though, so it's kind of poor. Willis Board says, do I play Estupiñán or João Pedro? I'd probably actually play Estupiñán because I think João Pedro might not start again. And it's a kind of tough game anyways. Kabore or Bell, I'd probably go Kabore. Start Ezer Estupiñán. I'd probably go Estupiñán. Sell Saka. I would not sell Saka. I'm starting Saka myself. Is Estupiñán over Bayer a good move? I'd probably go Bayer. Like, Estupiñán's not a great play this week, but ultimately, if you have, let's say, someone who's benched, then you can obviously just play Estupiñán over him. Now, if you have someone who's a terrible fixture as well, then you can maybe consider it too. But I wouldn't say Estupiñán's essential by any means. Matoma starting, I can't confirm that. Cash or Botman? I'd probably go Botman just because Botman has a good fixture this week. Start Dallo or Botman? I would definitely start Dallo. I'd start both of them, though, honestly. If you've got Dallo or Botman, you should be starting both of them, 100%. Lazy FPL, the only one who gives Man United leaks. Yep. Bench one from BL. So Madison / Saka. Oh, okay. I would probably bench either Madison or Mbumo. I'd probably bench Madison. James, good luck to you as well. Bench Madison or Mbumo. I'd bench Madison. Just because Mbumo's on penalties, I like to always start the penalty taker if I've got a conundrum. Because, you can kind of get a penalty from any situation. So that's kind of the way I see it. And also, Nottingham Forest, not a particularly good defense. So, yeah. Alrighty, so just quickly checking for leaks again. I don't really think I can see any other leaks, to be honest. Obviously, we have seen some people say that Son and Saka will play, that Madison will play, that Botman will play. I think Botman and Wilson for sure, and Foden Alvarez, I would trust these sorts of players. But otherwise, yeah, I'm not too worried. Yeah, all right, that's it. No leaks that I can see. Start Cash or Estupiñán. I'd probably start Estupiñán. I'm going to have to put you in timeout, though, just because we don't really want spam in the chat. Sorry about that. Start Anderson or Estupinian. I'd probably start. Is this Anderson from which Anderson are you talking about? Luton Town Anderson or Crystal Palace Anderson? Madison or Darwin? I'd probably play Darwin, honestly, just catch a little bit of upside there. Actually, it's a tough one. It's actually nah. I'd probably go Madison still. Probably still go Madison. Bench Sterling or Mbumo? I'd probably bench Sterling, honestly, because he's not a penalty taker. Start Sterling or Matoma? I'd probably start Sterling. But it's up to you. Let's get Fran's team selection video to 400 likes. Yeah, if you guys could do that, that would be lovely. Would really appreciate that. But also, if you guys can just like this general live stream here, 200 plus of you guys here, that's lovely. Hope you have a good game week to you as well, Aguero. I'll definitely be doing a review stream, but that review stream might actually have to come. I mean, maybe I can sort of do a Monday because, for example, yes, of course, Tuesday is a Luton Burnley game, but I don't really care about that game. Bench Sterling or Mbuma? I'd probably bench Sterling. I can't see any of the leaks so far, so I'm just gonna have to hope that everything's all good. We've got 5 minutes left. I don't see, yep, any additional leaks, so it is what it is. Yep, still no additional leaks from anyone else. I would say just don't be worried too much with Saka and Saliba, honestly. Arteta's a bit of a fraud. He lies a little bit in press conferences. Good manager, of course, but still, don't really trust him too much when it comes to injuries and things like that. I think they'll play. So start Anderson, Luton, or Estupinian. I'd probably start Anderson, Luton. Start Bell or Estupinian. Probably start Bell as well. I just think, for example, Estupinian has a pretty bad fixture. He might lose his clean sheet. Colwell versus Dean. I'd probably go Colwell, honestly, because Fulham can't score. Fran, pick a number from 1, 2, 3. 2. Bench 1 for Morris. Saka, Mbuma, Madison, Son, Diaby. I'd probably bench Diaby or Madison. Ederson or Areola. I'd definitely play Areola. Cash or Estupinian. I'd play Estupinian. I would sort of just back Brighton in that fixture. On a wild card, Trippier and Mbuma or Shar and Madison already have Son. I think Shar and Madison feels nicer. I'm not sure if Shar's the one. I'd probably go Burn and save some money. Like, Trippier and Mbeumo is nice, but then Mbeumo really doesn't have the same quality of fixtures as Madison. Grealish's bench, that is confirmed. Arteta's a psychotic liar when it comes to injuries. Yeah, I mean, mate, Eddie Howe and Arteta, number 1 and 2 top frauds when it comes to lying in press conferences about injuries. I've seen it too many times. Diaby or Gordon? I'd probably go Gordon. Bruno versus Rashford. Rashford finally returns. Why not the both of them? That's what I have. So why can't both of them hold, Rio? Don't do that to me. Both of them. Let's be optimistic. This lovely team, yeah? Bench Kabore, Eze, or Burn. I'd probably bench Eze, honestly. Evans or Estupinian, who to start? I'd probably start Evans. Onana or Turner? I'd probably start Onana. Pope or Pickford? I would definitely start Pickford. It's close. I'd probably go Pope. Madison or Cash? Madison, for sure. Start Dean or Estupinian. I'd start Estupinian. Start Joao who? Mitoma or Saka, please. Saka. Zuma or Agurd. I would go Agurd. Harrison, Trotter. How should I set up my bench? You've got Archer, Udogi, Mitchell. I think it's perfectly set up. Son in for Saka, free. You could do that, yeah. I think that's actually a good move. If it's a luxury transfer for you to go to Son and you don't need a -4, then go for it. But in most instances, I would actually keep Saka. Hoyland or Rashford? I'd go Rashford. Thanks, Gerbicide, for coming along. Onana or Areola? I'd go Areola. That's 2 minutes. Please lock in your transfers. It's not the time to ask questions. Get on the website. Lock in your transfers. Bayer or Estupinian? I would go Bayer. I would just back the double game. I would back most of the double game week defenders over Estupinian just because of appearance points. Start João Pedro. Probably not. Any Brighton leaks? No, but apparently some people have said that Mitoma could be benched, which I don't believe. But obviously it could still happen. How should I set up my bench with Diaby and Udogi? I would definitely play Diaby over Udogi. Madison or Wilson? I'd definitely play Wilson easily. Start Dean or Estupinian. Black screen. Morning to you as well. A little bit of an OG over there. Matthew Bateson says, should I bench Mbeumo, Foden, Diaby, or Alvarez? I'd probably bench Diaby. Mal, appreciate that. Hope you like the emojis. Let me know as well if you guys are members. If you want to have additional emojis or you want to have, for example, different options as well, just let me know. Your Captain Morris going to regret it ASAP. You can still change it. 1 minute. Fran, did you catch price rises so you get more team value? No, I don't believe in catching price rises. I prefer information, and I just prefer going for transfers to maximize points. For example, I was lucky with everything, right? Gusto, I got price rises just because I decided to go Gusto versus Luton Town. Same with Sterling, even though Sterling has dropped. Saliba, I was just lucky to be around during the leak. Yeah, other transfers. For example, I've tanked Fernandez and Rashford price drops. Alvarez, I just got there before he started hauling. So can't even say that I was catching price rises. And Pickford, what a terrible player. But hey, let's go versus Luton Town. I've been moving early to catch price rises every transfer of the season. I think I prefer it to wait until deadline. Yeah, I see what you mean, Ben. I mean, it's obviously nice that you're in a luxurious position. I mean, I guess it depends on if the sacrifice to going towards Salah was worth it for you. How much transfer value do you actually have in your team is a good question. Good luck to you, Mez, as well. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for being in the stream. Is Botman playing? I think he is going to play, so good luck. Yep, deadline's closed. Let's reset. Boom. The game is updating and will be available soon. No crashes this season. Pretty good, hey? Wildcard in Gameweek 8, not for me, but I think you can definitely go for it. It just really depends on what your team situation is. For example, if I was wildcard in Gameweek 8, I would definitely have just gone Taylor to Morris and then just played 3-4-3. But if I was actually going for something different, right? For example, because I'm actually planning for at least, at a bare minimum, the wildcard 10, I've gone for Dalot because Gameweek 7, 8, 9 are pretty good for United. So it's Crystal Palace, Brentford at home, and then Sheffield United away. So I would take that opportunity to sort of play the United players and then just go all the way towards Game Week 10. Now, if I can actually survive for longer and I can go towards Game Week 19, that's the best play for me. But, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, and I hope you guys have a wonderful game week filled with green arrows. I know we can't have them all. Maybe, hopefully, I don't have another red arrow this week, but yeah, take care. Does Ake start? I can't confirm. Hope you guys are doing well, though, and I'm probably going to bounce off. Actually, awesome that we have so many concurrent viewers in the chat today. Really, really love that interaction. Sorry, of course, at times if I can't respond on Twitter and things like that, but otherwise, hope you guys have a lovely, lovely weekend, and I'll see you guys shortly.